There are quite a few bronies in the fandom who have accomplished overpowered feats. Bliss's surges of magical rage, Aeon being Aeon, Mary Sue being unnaturally annoying, and don't get me started on the TF2 analysis anarchy superforms. However, there is a feat of strength that surpasses all others, and surprisingly, it's not a pony who does it. Hey, howdy everybody, Flytart here, and recently I learned a lot about the science of the sonic screams, and I think I can apply it to one of the most emotional magic lessons of all time. Before I get started, please like and subscribe to my channel, and share this insane science on social media. I also want to thank Element432 for letting me use his art for the thumbnail of this video. The link to his DeviantArt page will be down in the description. Now I do want to warn that there will be a ton of science in this theory. Well, let's get started here. Now I'm about to show you all a clip from Lightning Bliss's magic lesson Forever Young, which will be the main focus of my theory here today. Check it out.
Oh no, not again! Brace yourselves!
If we die, I'm blaming you.
She's a baby! I thought she wouldn't understand English! Well, give it what
Pay attention to the tears in the ground and how the whole place is shaking. I'm going to bring that up.
Channel into pieces.
That would be ironic! She absorbed it once, right? Doc? Doc?
Doc, wait! It's too much. I can't focus. Guys, help me out here. What is he doing?
Doc, get back here! She's too chaotic!
Okay, I think that's enough right there to give us a general idea of what I'm analyzing. Also, Flurry Heart is no longer the pony with the loudest scream in the in the Alcorn realm. Now, to the average viewer, this may look like a simple feat of strength, and it may give some of you flashbacks to X-Men 3. However, this feat of Dr. Wolf making his way to his dear friend might just be comparable to the full fury of the Phoenix's might. Now, I admittedly didn't look much into that scream at first, but I had a friend show me a video talking about a DC video called Black Canary, who had a deafening scream that could shatter boulders, and it made me think more about the effects of such a scream. This video showed me a lot of science about decibels, the measurement of sound. Now, I'm going to be focusing on Bliss for a while, but I'm going to be getting back to Dr. Wolf's sheer amount of strength. Now, these sounds cause vibrations and pressure that our ears pick up. If you had ever heard a siren go off or a balloon pop next to your head, then you can actually feel that effect much clearer. This is also why some loud machinery or constant loud noises can damage our hearing, affecting the eardrums to the point where they cannot pick up those noises as well anymore. Now, decibels are a little hard to understand, mainly because they don't work as normal numbers. These numbers this unit of measurement is logarithmic. With normal measurements saying that 30 is 10 times more than 20, logarithmic measurements mean that for every 10 decibels, the intensity is multiplied by 10. 30 is 10 times as much as 20, 40 is 10 times as much as 30, and so on. Now, some of you are still wondering how this ties into the almighty scream, and I'm getting there. To understand the full force of the scream, we also have to understand earthquakes. Did you notice when Bliss started screaming, the ground itself tore open and violently shook, and her friend said that she would tear the channel apart if it kept up? To understand the kind of force she gave, let me explain the Richter scale. It is another unit of measurement that calculates the force of an earthquake, but isn't nearly as hard to comprehend. It also works similarly to decibels, but it's every one number in the Richter scale that is 10 times as tense as the last. So 3 is 10 times stronger than 2, and so on. Now, before I get into the full force of this unholy scream, let me give a few examples of decibels and the Richter scale on a smaller level. 40 decibels is the equivalent of a whisper, and normal conversations, like me talking to you right now, is 60 decibels. Minor permanent hearing damage begins at 85 decibels, and you should start wearing earplugs at that point. 140 decibels will result in extreme damage to hearing, no matter how short your exposure is to it. At 200 decibels, you'll actually die instantly, and that's also the equivalent of the epicenter of a Richter 1 earthquake. Think about that. We don't know such earthquakes as much, but that's because people who feel those earthquakes are feeling the area effect. Think about it like a ripple in a pond. The spot where the ripple originates from is the epicenter. The further away you are from the center, the less it affects you. That's why you don't feel Richter 1 or 2 earthquakes. Because the ground is shifting miles underneath you. You don't feel the full force of what's going on at the epicenter. The same thing applies to sound. The further away you are, the less you hear. Now let's classify how powerful Bliss's scream is. The ground itself tore open, and she risked tearing her channel apart from the sheer amount of force she was giving off. Such force sounds like the damage of a Richter 7 earthquake. At level 7, the buildings shift off of their foundations, even collapsing. It's dangerous, and it sounds like the force that can slowly build up to a Richter 8 earthquake, which would have definitely tore the channel apart. Now my only problem with calculating this force is that the reference sheet that I'm using, which will be down in the description, doesn't exactly cover a Richter 7 earthquake. Now I do acknowledge that 200 decibels is labeled as a Richter 1 earthquake. And the sheet I use actually says that a Richter 5 earthquake is approximately 250 decibels, and a Richter 8.6 earthquake is approximately 296 decibels. All honesty, measuring earthquakes are not an exact science due to the scientists being able to get different results depending on their location. And the fact that some of these earthquakes happened a long time ago and are very rare. So I will admit that these numbers may not be accurate. And there's possibly a great difference between decibels and the Richter scale. So for the sake of argument, I will take the measurement of the 8.6 earthquake and the 5 earthquake and come up with the range for a Richter 7 earthquake. Now, taking our knowledge about sounds and earthquakes, we can subtract 16 decibels from the 8.6 earthquake and also add 20 decibels to the 5 earthquake to give us a range between 255 and 280 decibels. Now, to give you an idea of the low end of that might, 255 decibels is the same kind of force as a 600 kiloton atomic blast. Stop and think about X-Men 3 again. That puts a whole new perspective about what Wolverine did. Any normal human being would be wiped out instantly, which only goes to show the full might of the scream. Now, I spent quite a bit of time explaining how devastating Bliss's scream was, and how powerful that high challenge alicorn is. So where does Dr. Wolf apply my theory? There were 4 other ponies there that were rather close to her, but keep in mind that the force was so powerful that none of them could focus their magic or even try to get close to her. Dr. Wolf was the one who had to fight to get to the epicenter of the scream. He had to deal with the full force of Bliss's might and exert a force greater than Bliss's scream in order to close the gap. That would be the energy equivalent of approximately 1,000,000 tons of TNT. Yeah, Wolverine has got nothing on Dr. Wolf. How she heard him shush her is beyond me now. Doc could literally be stronger than any brony out there, becoming the Gaston of the brony fandom. No one would be as strong as him, as tough as him, and this would also explain why he never fights in the TF2 sessions. He'd be as overpowered as Tarek, his brother, and we already know how pleasant it is to see such an overpowered person fighting in the game. No offense to Tarek, I'm just referencing the other characters' reactions from your TF2 episodes. Now, many of you are now asking where this almighty strength came from. Is there some kind of hidden magic inside of him that can rival Aeon himself? Well, admittedly, I think I know the truth of the matter, and I'm going to have to ask you to forgive me for what I'm about to say. I don't actually think he's anywhere near as strong as I calculated. Very few people take the time to take a YouTube video like this and break it down to the scientific extent that I have. And I highly doubt that Bliss or Dr. Wolf would have made this scene with this science in mind. But it's fun to think about the small wolf being able to be that strong, let alone Bliss being that loud. But this is a cartoon, a work of fiction. Looking at this from a realistic view would mean that the consequences of a scream like that would be long-lasting and even fatal. So why did I bother with such a theory if it's not even applicable to the actual video? It's because I wanted to show this science to you, and help you understand how epic science can be when applied in unique ways. This is mainly my unique way of having fun and showing some appreciation to one of my favorite bronies. I would also like to see a video of Dr. Wolf and Bliss reenacting that scene from X-Men 3. However, today I got to see a new video by Dr. Wolf where he snapped his fingers, which caused a shockwave to go through the entirety of Ponyville. So maybe there is some super magical might behind him, or some kind of magic that has enhanced his strength? What do y'all think about Doc's feat of strength? How strong do you think he really is? Comment down your thoughts below about this crazy science and theory. Please like and subscribe, check out the links down below, and I'll see you all next time.